Thank you for tuning in to the Court of Public Opinion, where you be the judge.
He's working every night. It ain't easy to keep the flame alive. And when he finally comes home to you, he's just too tired to do the things you want to. You can't help but wonder to yourself, how would it be with someone else? Just keep in mind, every storm ends in time. Love is forever. Stay together. You got something real that you may never feel again. Never give up on a good thing. Remember what makes you happy. Oh, never give up on a good thing. Love is what you got. You got a lot. Now you're the man. You got to understand. You don't need to make the scene. Like you, she feels all the weight you're under. And when she breaks, is it any wonder? I know sometimes it crosses your mind to get on out and stay hard to find. Before you try, you better look in her eyes. Love is forever. Stay together. You got something real that you may never feel again. Never give up on the good thing. Remember what makes you happy. Oh, never give up on the good thing. Love is what you got. You got a lot. Don't give up your good thing. Don't give it up. Hold on. Oh, don't give up your good thing. Be strong. Hold on. Don't live it up. Don't give it up. Never give up on a good thing. Remember what makes you happy. Oh, never give up on a good thing. Love is what you got. You got a lot. Never give up on the good things. Remember what makes you happy. Oh, never give up on the good things. Love is what you got. You got a lot. Never give up on the good things.
Thank you for tuning in to the Court of Public Opinion. I can't think of a better time to talk about courtship. Love. Yeah, well, a lot of people are planning weddings or plan to get married or plan to date somebody to get married. And this is a really appropriate time. I really believe, and I've come to this over a period of time, experience, that you choose love every day. You choose to love others. You could either hold on to unforgiveness or choose to forgive. Those are very obvious. Now, we might not consciously think of it that way, but in essence, I believe that all of us are going to have to learn to be conscientious of those things, because um, you do make a choice. You might not be fully aware of that. You're going to choose to have a good day. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, "Choose this day in whom you will serve," and that means you're going to serve God. You're going to serve what He wants, His desires, and that's love. And I heard a lot over the last year, love trumps hate. And it's true. Love is about love. That's love. I just find that I don't want to take away from the fact that there are some really good points that people, no matter where you disagree, if you disagree with certain individuals, and some people wholeheartedly disagree, but you still have to choose. You still have to make a choice. Are you going to live today and get mad at people because you can't control what they say or do, or you're going to understand and arm yourself with knowledge and wisdom? That comes over time. That's like overcoming. I don't like a lot of things that people have done to me. In fact, I've been one of those people that stewed about it for months. But I also learned in that I had to be forced to make a choice. I'm either going to choose to forgive them despite them, because they may not even change. That's very hard to accept. But over time, I don't have to change them. I don't have to like what they did. I don't have to be around them. I can make a choice. Now, you probably heard that. That sounds redundant, okay? For some people, you've heard this before. Well, you're hearing it from me. And I was one of those people, I'm like, I used to like tear up the discussion where when somebody says, well, they said this and they said that. And I was like, who is they? You know, I could pick apart a debate a lot too. So I'm not like as if I don't know what I'm talking about. In fact, I'm probably speaking to some of you who just listen to these people and you're like, what do they mean by they? Why aren't they being clear? I was told one time we were not being very clear. We need to be very direct. Well, because I'm discussing it on principle. I'm not discussing it on a situation based case by case, because if that were the case, I'd probably have to have a show every day, and I'd have to really do a lot of homework. And not that I don't like doing the homework, but I maybe I should. I can consider that at some point, but right now, it's easier to just make a generalization on principle. So with that said, I think the song is really appropriate. A lot of people are going to make that choice every day. You're going to choose. You have to stay here. You remain realistic, but you forgive it. That means you can keep people at arm's distance. You can keep a safe distance from certain people. You should. You should guard your heart. You should guard yourself. And if not, you're going to be blaming people for the choices you made. You walk into every situation knowing full well that not everybody's going to do it your way, or they might not even meet your expectations. I mean, wow, have I learned a lot about expectations. I put a lot of faith in the expectations on a lot of people. I had what I thought was a good job, and a week later, I was fired. I didn't even do anything, but that's a different story. But I had so many great expectations about that job. And I had a lot of reasons to want to go to certain jobs, and I may not even been qualified for the job or overqualified, whatever. But that's why you give yourself some room. When you go into a job or you're looking for a certain somebody, which I think is just the same, it's a different type of interview process. Of course, you don't look at love and dating as an interview process, but why not? Why not look at love and see what you can offer that person and what that person can offer you? I mean, no, it's probably not going to look like a job interview, but a lot of times, if you look at it that way, it takes a lot of the pressure off you. At least you have something to work with, especially somebody who's uncomfortable with dating. I mean, it is scary to go out there and just assume you're going to agree with everything everybody says. If you're going to do that, you're going to be a yes man. And not that that's a bad thing, but saying yes to everything everyone else says, that means you are not grounded in principle. You're not grounded in those areas. And I'm not saying that there are people that don't have principles. They're just not cognitive of it. They're not aware of it. They really haven't sat down and said, what is my mission statement? What do I like and don't like? What are the things I want and don't want? And if you go into it with that, and you don't necessarily have to communicate it, but you don't have to snub people off. You don't have to disrespect anybody. You don't have to get into all this minutia and red tape, because you know where you are. If you have a mission statement, and like so many of us, we've evolved to this point. We're not like, we had to learn the hard way, is what I'm saying. When I heard somebody say, "What is your mission statement in life?" I was like, I didn't know we had to have one. I didn't know if there was a requirement, but actually it made so much sense when you think in the world where relationships are so superficial, you can't really have time to talk about a lot of things. If you're going in between appointments and doctors, you're not going to be wanting to text somebody your life story in the middle of it. They're not going to listen. They'll be like, is this person out to lunch? I'm in the middle of doing things. So life is kind of happening pretty fast. And the only way we can slow down and keep up the pace at time to time is allow yourself some breaks in between. Give yourself a break, okay? Sit down, sort it out. Don't get upset about things that you can't control. You know there's going to be people that you're going to go through life, whether you're emotionally prepared for it or not. And most of the times I would prepare kids at a very young age because I don't know what the circumstances are. But if I was a parent, I'm like, I'm going to school them on everything. And I'm going to tell them, you might not be aware of it but at the time, but you'll remember what I said when I told you, just keep your eye out, look out for each other. There was a book called Everything You Need to Learn, You Learned in Kindergarten. It is absolutely true. If you want to live life, there are plenty of little books. In fact, I'm going to go grab one. I really like it. It's like little lessons. And so the takeaway from today is life, courtship, love, choose forgiveness, choose the high road. It would be a lot easier to go along with that crowd. If people are making jokes at somebody, you don't want to be in that crowd. Not because you don't like them as people, but you don't want to associate with it. When I look at some of the things that were on Facebook Live, this was like a couple months ago, okay? And those kids were getting together and they were planning to hurt this handicapped man, okay? He was, I think, 19 or 20 at the time. What would have happened if one of those kids said, I'm not going to hang out with you and I got other things to do, or, just decided to hang back and then interrupted it, or maybe even took the handicapped young man somewhere else. See, I think, and we've all done this. I know I can speak for myself. I don't know about all of you, but I can speak for myself. Many times we think that we have no influence on decisions. I can say this. One person could be the game changer in any situation, whether it be at work, at home. And we're not talking about people that are like a witness. You don't have to go into a situation knowing what could happen. And that's using common sense. If you know that this situation is going to end up in a bad way, you're going to think it through. That's what we're trying to talk about today. Because I think I learned some things over the last couple months. I would not look at it this way, but I'm learning to change my views. Even at almost 50 years old, I can look at things a lot differently than I did before. Yes, there's a lot of things that do anger me because I realize my helplessness in that. And I think when people just let anger rule, you know that people are going to avoid you. And maybe it's a good thing, because I have to tell you, anger sometimes is a deterrent. If I know somebody's really angry and upset, I'm probably not going to push it my luck. I notice the look on some of these people's faces that they're not going to push it anymore. I know there are people that don't respect wimps, but when you see somebody is really angry and they're expressing it, they're going to most likely stop doing it. And they're not going to push the envelope far. And anyone that does feed into anger, you're going to be on the other side of somebody's fist, possibly. So sometimes anger can be a good thing. I wouldn't push my luck, though. I wouldn't stay angry, is what I'm saying. Learn to, calm down. Give yourself a 10-second rule. Step away from it. In fact, anger is not a bad word here at all. You're allowed to have anger. I hear a lot of people are like, well, you shouldn't get that angry. Well, no, I think that's the problem. We have a world of people who are violated and angry, Okay, the A word is not the bad word here. It's what you do with that anger. I must emphasize that. Don't, I mean, that's why you got to deal with your anger. Before you deal with that person, say you want to patch things up and you're still angry, you're only fooling yourself, okay? You can't go into a situation knowing somebody upset and hurt you. You're better off not talking to them at all, okay? That could go both ways too, okay? That's why I think you make this kind of decision throughout your day. Am I going to stay angry at this person? Because if they anger me that much, I'm going to have to do everything I can to walk away from them. Maybe their behavior is a result of why you're angry. That means you have no control over them. The only thing you can do is walk away. If you know somebody's going to get you that steamed, walk away. That's the way I look at it. Okay? And I'm sure a lot of you have your own version of the truth. But that's pretty much how many of us have come away with it from experience. I'm not saying this is an opinion. This is from experience. Big difference. In my opinion, if more people communicated their anger about certain things, I think a lot of things would be different in America. I'd say, for the most part, most people wouldn't push their luck. I'd say if I'm gonna address somebody, I'm not gonna let them get away with it. I'm gonna address them, and I can do it while angry. I can do it and be very direct to them. But I better make sure I got my ducks in a row. Okay. The outcome is some people, they take anger as a violation. No, usually anger is provoked. Okay, there's other things I can take away from that. If you respect your parents, but they can't provoke you. They don't mean to cause sibling rivalry. They don't provoke their children. You know, parents oftentimes, and I see this with adult relationships, okay? Parents can't go and create fights with the kids, okay? The adult parent, the one that's being responsible, knows she's not going to say certain things or he's not going to say certain things. They know this thing upsets them. They don't aggravate the situation. Especially for somebody who doesn't have a relationship with certain individuals. You're probably not the person to be provoking anyone. You should probably write a letter and say, I would like to talk to you. I'm angry about some things. And when we have a chance to, we're going to talk this out. Okay? Usually that'll give that person an indication that they've pushed it too far. And the reason I say that is because love goes hand in hand. There are emotions. A lot of people confuse love with lust. We know that. If you love somebody, you're not just about having sex with them. You love them more than that, right? A lot of people talk about sex. You genuinely have concern for their safety and welfare. To me, that applies to other areas of your relationship with other people. So you don't go into these things blindly. You don't ignore the important things, like the things that you value. If you value good relationships, you know that you're going to be tested in some areas. A lot of people are nervous because they don't allow themselves to be human in those relationships. Yes, it's part spiritual. That's the one component to every relationship that a lot of people overlook. There is a spiritual side to your life. You want to love them. You want to care for them. But you also know if you really love somebody, you really love them. You can say it like 1,000 times, but if you really love somebody, you're going to accept them where they're at, who they are, and you're not there to change them. That sounds good in theory, but try to put that to work, okay? You're going to be tested until you come to the acceptance that you have no control over those people. And there are a lot of people that a lot of us do not like. Okay, we might have liked them at one time. They may have lied to us. They may have done things, but are you going to hold that against them? No, I'm going to give them a couple opportunities. I'm going to say, well, eventually they're going to tell the truth. When you get tired of telling the lie, come back and we'll talk about it later. Because calling their behavior out works like a charm. And you're not going to hang a person because they've got caught in a lie, okay? The thing is, you're there to probably teach them, or they're there to learn. Either way. So it's both one and the same. But you choose every day to love others, and you know that you're going to be tested in some areas. You know you're going to accept your own limitations. This is when you say, okay, I have a mission statement. My mission statement is I can love this person. I just don't want to tolerate this behavior. And that's okay because you're making a choice, but you also realize that you're in a two-way relationship. It's not all you. I mean, more people want to control the situation, and there's two people in this relationship. It's you and that other person. If you want to consider God, there's three people in that relationship. Some people choose to do it on their own. Good luck there. That's why I know you have to be grounded in principle. Okay, I get some people are going to screw up. I get it. I mean, I've made those mistakes. I still sometimes do. I make sometimes mischaracterizations. That's why I by experience, I normally have not ever communicated these things. In fact, most of the time I was very quiet about things. I'm not one of those people who lets a problem get out of control. And when I talk about these problems or why we address certain relationship problems, it's because a lot of people have not really communicated anything. So some of us overcompensate, including myself. I'm not here to overcompensate because some people, I can't own their behavior. I can say over the last couple months, since the stories that have been on the headline news, as of today, I just realized that there's a lot more will be revealed, and we'll sort it out and make a game day decision. I just want to wrap it up here at the Court of Public Opinion by saying this. Every day, I think you choose a lot of things, and just looking back at what we discussed here, you're going to choose to love others. You can also look at it realistically. You know, you're going to have limitations, so will they. There's two people in a relationship. So if you want a two-way relationship, it goes both ways. You're not in the driver's seat as much as you like to think you are. You're fooling yourself. If you want to include God in that, that's a three-way relationship. And it's based on principles, and you'll come to the end of yourself. You'll realize that over time, your experiences are going to shape your views. And overall, you're going to consider, I need to be more merciful and forgiving regarding this one. On some things, you might be anger. Anger is not a bad word, by the way. Anybody that has a problem with that, I'm sorry, you must be living in a bubble. Not everybody's going to be nice to you, and we found out on both sides of that. So you go into with the eyes open, you have your glasses on, you took your rose-colored glasses off, you got a reality check. Okay, so we move forward. I know that today many of you are going to come away with your own stories, and maybe you will be doing an episode of the Court of Public Opinion and not me. And I would really like that because I'm sure there's some people that have their own views and opinions. I go based on experience, okay? I don't go based on opinions alone, okay? But maybe one of these days, one of you will be doing an episode here, and I can be in the audience. And while we're on that point, that is the point. I'm not going to be doing the hosting of the Court of Public Opinion once we get people that sign in and sign up in the description box below in chat wing. Every person has the opportunity to bring their case to the Court of Public Opinion, where we will do the same layout and you can do your own case regarding what you believe is important to the Court of Public Opinion. Thank you for listening. If you would like to add any suggestions or comments, do so in the comment section below. Thank you.